Okay, so we are about 2/3 way through day 6 of the festival, and we just had another short film showcase, which was fantastic. Can we just get an introduction, starting on my left here, and your name in the film and your role?
A.D. Cooper. I was the writer, director, producer, cake maker, location manager, all sorts of things for CoDirector.
My name is Megan Smith, and I was the writer, producer, and one of the actors in Best Friends.
My name is Guni Kocak. I'm the writer, director, producer, and also played Yusuf in Green Lanes.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. We have a round of applause for the film you've just seen, please. Okay, so first question of all, is this the first time you've seen your film on the big screen? And whether it is or not, what kind of experience is it for you to see your film? Is it a happy one, or is it one that you notice mistakes or anything like that? How critical are you? AD, do you want to start?
I noticed more sound design each time, actually, because there's so many layers with it. But I have seen it several times on the screen.
That was the first time the director and I have seen it on a screen in the UK. We've been really fortunate. It's been in a few festivals, but a lot of them abroad or during the pandemic, so a lot of it's done virtually. So I think we were just both thrilled to see our work up there. I think the thing that I was just noticed, I don't know if you two find this, having done sort of multiple roles, is I always look up and I'm like, oh, I look really tired. And I think I was, because by the time I arrived, I thought, oh, we've got here kind of thing. But no, I think it's lovely to have a break from it sometimes and come back to it and see it. And it still makes me chuckle, which is, I think, a good sign.
Yeah, it's been the first time seeing Green Lanes on the big screen, like a cinema screen, and yeah, it's been absolutely amazing. I think sort of the first minute I was kind of cringing internally, because thinking like, oh, is that what we've done? But towards the end I felt very proud. I thought like, yeah, great that we made that film during the pandemic.
Fantastic. Question I always like to ask, we're at a film festival, what do you like best about film festivals? Do you want to start?
What I like best about film festivals, just seeing lots of work of other filmmakers, just being inspired, also meeting other filmmakers in person, networking, or just also having the opportunity just to have your work seen on a bigger screen like here.
I would echo all of those answers, and I would just also say, coming to my first film festival in person with this film, I would say the permission just to sit and watch films and allow yourself to just enjoy the experience in the day. I think sometimes when you're watching films and they're back in your living room, you're always being distracted by things or admin or things that need to be done. So I've just really enjoyed today just watching so many different genres and varieties and sort of having nothing else to distract me.
I think the thing I like is the reaction that people have when they haven't seen the film, and they get the same the reaction that you hoped they would have when you're making the film.
Let's talk about inspiration. So, how did you first come up with the concepts for your films, or how did you first become involved in them?
Sure. This is actually a proof of concept for a picture, but it was kind of came out of the depths of the lockdown. What could be worse? And I decided that it could only be worse would be to be completely sane, but in a mental state.
The idea for this film came about from personal experience. I was just explaining, a friend of mine went through something rather sad, and I just noticed the girls and women around her were being amazing, but just started to get really competitive about like who was supporting her the most. And I was in the midst of it, and I just thought, actually, let's like respond to this with humour, because it is quite funny. And I think women and girlfriends can be amazing, and equally they can be their worst enemy. So that was my way of kind of expressing kind of how I was feeling at the time.
For me, I would say probably the main inspiration for Green Lanes was my extended family. So all the characters are obviously fictional, but they're based on real people. And I guess everyone has sort of those relatives that are a bit eccentric maybe, and they kind of inspire you a bit, and you think, how can I put this character into a story? And that sort of started off with the dad, and then the mum, and then the son, and I don't know, it was like a puzzle. I kind of started shifting things, and then at some point, I don't know, I got the story in my head and had to write it down.
Question for you, Guni. You were co-director on this film.
Yeah, I have a co-director as well.
How does that work? I always interested. How does two heads work on a film?
Yeah, it's quite a difficult one. So you kind of sit down with the script and you kind of almost like agree on the same vision, but at the same time you have to kind of learn to balance it. So in those scenes where I had to be on screen myself, I had my co-director Muidrish on the monitor, and it's just about trust that if you're in front of the camera and you're acting, you focus on the acting, and your co-director's focusing on the directing. So a lot of it is about balance and letting go, and just trusting it, and trusting your co-director.
AD, your editor is here with us.
Yes.
How closely do you work together? How, do you hand it over to them? And I'm going to ask the same question actually to the editors as well eventually. But
Yeah, I leave him to do a first compilation. He's from Raynham, so I come over to Raynham when he's had to put together one compilation, and then he'll have a noodle, and then I'll think and a bit of time, and then I'll come back again and just doing the frame until it's right.
you hand that over.
Oh, yeah. I mean, editors are just as much storytellers as the writers are. But Gary always gets carried away. He always gets about 120% from Gary.
Are you involved in the editors?
We had a fantastic DOP and editor called Will Austin, and he did a first draft, but I think we were so lucky because he worked with Craig, the director, really well. He did come back with a first edit, and I think we gave sort of a little bit of feedback or whatever. But I think when you have a good team and everyone's kind of on side and gets the vision, it's quite a fun process. But I would say 100% it was as much his creative and understanding of the script as it was me being the writer or Craig being the director.
I always share with Gary before we start, so before I even film, have I got enough coverage? And I think you're right to say, Gary, the script annoyed him. And that's why he wants to be part of it. Is that right, Gary?
I don't know about that, it annoys me, but I'll always just say, give me more stuff, give me more coverage, give me everything. It's never enough.
You can always get rid of
Burden for it.
Yeah. Yes, you can't edit it with ain't there.
That's right. Yeah. So let's talk about challenges then. Guni, what was your biggest challenge, and also what would be a tip that you'd give to other filmmakers?
Yeah, probably for me the biggest challenge was COVID, just having suddenly have COVID. So I had the script locked around February, March 2020, and we wanted to actually film during summer, but then obviously COVID started. So yeah, that was the biggest challenge, be able to get everyone together during those days and making sure that everyone is safe. Yeah, I'd say during the days of the shoot, COVID was the biggest challenge. I'd say like one of the tips that I picked up is that was just mainly for Green Lanes. I treated Green Lanes as if it was a play. So I got the actors together, we had a table read. Even though we only shot for 3 days, I treated it like it's a play, and you give everyone as much as creative freedom as possible. Because I'm an actor as well, and I like that sort of almost safe, relaxed environment where actors can just act. So we didn't have the issue of having a tight schedule in that sense. And just trusting everyone from the DOP to the editor to the sound recorders, just giving people the confidence. And I think that's what people want, or that's how I felt, to treat everyone equal. respect their positions that they have.
I think the biggest challenge for us, I don't know if Craig wants to jump in here, but it's probably shooting it in a day, because it was kind of then or nothing. And I think also we actually managed, we did it the Monday before, or maybe it was the Tuesday, we went into lockdown, and we turned off our phones in the morning, and when we switched it back on at the end of the day, I think we sort of realised that the world had really changed. So I think we sort of realised at that moment that if there was anything wrong, I don't think we knew we weren't coming back together for a while. And I'd say the tip would be to work with good people, I think, is just a sort of general tip, but really people that believe in the project and the script, because actually then the reason I just loved Best Friends and I still smile when I see it is because everyone there just was wanting to be there, was having a good time, and I think regardless of whether it's a comedy or a narrative or a straight or whatever, you want people there that want to be there. So I would say that to any budding filmmakers, don't get someone just because you think they're good. If they don't want to be there, that will be detrimental to the film.
Our challenges were very much COVID related as well, and so I ended up having to brief the actor sitting on the steps of a theatre, just because we weren't allowed to meet indoors. And finding a location was quite hard. That's actually the changing rooms of my local bowls club, which turned out to be absolutely revolting. I mean, actually, there's no set design in that. It is that foul. But it was full of. We had to move all the lockers out and then move them all back in. And they all complained bitterly that it smelled too fairy-like. It was clean. I think my best tip to give to new filmmakers is make sure you have proper food. Always feed your cast and crew. And don't, McDonald's is not enough, sandwiches not enough. It's got to be proper food and not too much sugar, otherwise everyone gets really excited.
Yeah, this is the third time I think you've been to the festival and the horror festival, and every time we talk about cake. So I've got to ask.
How many cakes?
Which cake was it for this film that you made?
No, I had to make vegan cakes.
Okay.
So, because the actor was vegan. So, yes, I make vegan cakes, and we also had to make cake. But I did have to make some many because we did the edit remotely. On the whole, I did make cakes. You didn't make? Yeah. And then, but we had to do the grade was remotely, so they did get cake. Cake has currency. Yeah.
Top tip. Okay, so let's talk about what you're working on next. So, Guni, what projects have you got in the fire?
I'm currently rewriting a kind of proof of concept drama / sci-fi. Hopefully, well, I'm still redrafting it, but hopefully we'll get it ready for probably summer this year. Touch wood.
Can you give us a little sneaky, an idea what it's about?
What is it about?
Suspension.
Yeah, it deals with many themes, but I think one of the themes again is kind of regret. It's about a spouse of a military spouse, set in a futuristic world, but it's dealing with like human relationship and regret. I'll leave it at that.
I'm going to be working on post-production for a short film. It's my first narrative short called I Called You, which is taken from a larger text called Text Me When You're Home. And that should be ready by September, so I'm really excited for that. And then I've got three short films in pre-production, which are kind of all going into sort of funding.
Just the three.
Just the three. It's been a really busy bit. But one might come about. I mean, yeah, we'll see. But they've all kind of been bubbling away for the last 2 years and sort of just getting in. So their scripts other people have written, so I'll be producing those. So I'm excited to see kind of what comes back. And with all these things, you probably might find out about it later this year or next year. So you sort of just have to wait and see now what comes about.
So last weekend I've just shot a short film starring Derek Griffiths. Do you remember Derek Griffiths? He used to do a very well-known actor. It was a commission from Film Expo South, which is Film Hampshire Film Dorset, filming in various locations in Hampshire, so we're in post for that. I've just been commissioned to write an audio podcast. And I've just been to the Cannes Film Festival hawking around my goods.
Who are they?
Yeah,
Who are
well,
they?
I left it purposely to come straight here. Yeah, better festival.
Very kind of you to say so. We look forward to seeing you all with your next projects, or many future projects here at the festival. Can I have one final round of applause, please? Yeah,